Here is an example of a learning team. In this case, the task was lifting these big 7-ton spools about couple inches above the floor and moving them to a different part of the workshop. And you may say, okay, that's easy to do. But actually, when we talk to the operators, we've learned that the crane operators had a cable-type control system, right? So there was a cable attached to the control, which meant that they couldn't move freely because they were limited by the length of the cable, which meant that in this case, they were forced to stand too close to the load. Because of the size of the load, they couldn't see what's on the other side. So they needed a spotter. But they also couldn't see the spotter, so they had to use verbal commands. The remote that they had buttons left, right, up, and down. So now if you think about it, if we face each other and we both point to this wall, my left is your right. And if you're giving me instructions, you can say right, and I can press the wrong button. Now you see, this combination of factors is what we refer to the context, and that context will drive behavior. And so in this case, workers asked, can you just give us a remote control? Okay, and that was easy enough to do. We've made it done in a couple weeks, and then the crane operator could move freely. They no longer needed a spotter. That eliminated the risk of miscommunication. And also we bought a different model. Instead of left-right, a model with west-east. Now, this is not a silver bullet because you need a point of reference. So we added also big posters on the walls and the ceiling. But now the person could move freely, they could see, and they had always frame of reference regardless of which direction they were turning. And there are a couple important lessons from here. Number one, if there was an incident here, and there was a potential for life-changing injury if the person was hit or crushed, if there was an incident, we would have probably found exactly the same things that we found now. Number two, behavioral interventions would be of very limited use. You could pitch to this worker and motivate them all day long. They would be forced to stand close to the load because of the cable. Number three, the improvements that actually reduce the risk were in managerial control, but needed collaboration. The site management needed to find out about those things from the operators, and then they could involve different teams, procurement, etc., to find, source, install the new system. So the solution actually required involvement of different teams, but the workers, the crane operators, were not in a position to find, source, pay, and install. And so learning teams are a powerful way of identifying challenges and constraints, but they're more involved, so require more planning, and so they're not the only tool in our portfolio.